Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, TV Reviews, Connections of Mind, and welcome back to another installment in my review and reaction series to each and every episode of Season 3 of the Orville New Horizons. Now, if you've never seen one of my review and reaction episodes before, this is where I give my brief overview of the latest episode of whichever TV series I have been reviewing. I give my thoughts on what I liked, disliked, what I thought worked and didn't work, as well as some analysis of certain plot developments and character arcs that may seem familiar to you and where you may have seen them before. Just to get this out of the way, this will be a full spoiler review and reaction of the latest episode of the Orville New Horizons, so if you have not seen this latest episode yet, I highly recommend coming back when you have, because this will be full-on spoilers from here on out. So with that being said, and without further ado, let's get into the Orville New Horizons, Season 3, Episode 2, entitled Shadow Realms. Now this episode picks up where, more or less where we left off in previous episode, where the Orville is hosting high-level negotiations between the Union and the Krill in order to negotiate passage through their space in order to explore uncharted space on the far side of Krill territory. The Krill imply that in the sector of space that the Union wants to explore, there's a threat that their sacred text, the Ancana, refers to as, they're shadow realms there. They're demons that are going to possess your soul there. It's like, that sort of mumbo jumbo that Ed and the Admiralty think like, oh no, I'm sure there's probably something out there that could be a danger, but it's probably nothing supernatural. But we're going to check it out anyway. So they do that. However, the main personal conflict of this story is the Admiral, who is attached to the Orville to conduct these negotiations and who decides to tag along on these explorations, is Admiral Paul Christie, who it turns out is Claire Finn's ex-husband from a years ago in another life, pretty much. That there was personal conflict there, but Claire's obviously said it's over now. Like that was a whole other lifetime ago. And Paul, Admiral Christie, he confides in Isaac that she's gone on with her life, but I think I haven't gotten over her just yet, even after all these years. So there's that personal conflict going. The Orville gets to Krill's space, past Krill's space into the Naklov sector and this expanse where the Orville picks up a distress signal, and when they go to investigate, they find that there's this massive, foreboding space station that seems to have no life signs. So the crew goes to investigate along with Admiral Christie. It's very spooky, but there's obviously no one aboard. However, Admiral Christie gets essentially sprayed with microbes that start transforming him into this creature. They don't know what it is yet until it gets to the point where it's basically taken over his whole body, and he escapes sickbay. He installs a dampening field, essentially, that overrides the Orville's power supply, and the ship goes into full lockdown with the power cut, and basically the Orville kind of turns into a haunted house, essentially, where people are kind of wandering around in the dark quarters trying to figure out what's going on now. This creature is stalking people, and then it turns out the creature can actually spray its victims with basically goop that transforms them into the same creature, only a lot faster than the Admiral did. And the whole last third of this episode is basically just the crew of the Orville trying to figure out how to reverse the process or defeat these creatures, and restore power to the Orville before a ship that is on its approach and seems to be the same power signature as the space station, and the life forms are very similar to these creatures. There's this with the final climactic moment happens in engineering where they managed to locate the creature that was Paul, the Admiral, and Claire manages to talk, to basically communicate with him what little that was left of Paul, and convinces him that, we have the capability to kill you, but we'll let you leave and join your crew if you let us go. And so that seems to work. The final ominous line is like, we go, but not forever. So it'll be interesting to see if this is a continuing threat as the season goes on. And then the episode ends with, Claire obviously kind of pondering, thinking over the past week's events, and Isaac goes in to check on her, and we see them sit down and have dinner, and it's like, okay, now rekindling the friendship, and that's basically where the episode ends. So I really liked this episode because, it has a lot of different elements thrown into it. I mean, by the time you get to these creatures infesting the Orville, it's very much an Alien vibe, but they kind of do a twist on it where it's Alien, but it's also kind of like a Borg assimilation kind of threat where the alien can turn its victims into more aliens. So that's a fun little twist on that kind of horror trope, and I love that spot. Also, I gotta give a good shout out to the music, the score of this episode, because it made me think a lot of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and when the Enterprise is flying over V'ger, those sort of music cues are kind of the same sort of thing that we're hearing here, and it fits the foreboding nature of these scenes very well. I love that about this episode. I also like that we actually get some good humor in this episode. Finally, Ed's speech, ending with "May the Force be with you." I was like, okay, fine. I kind of got spoiled by that by the trailers and other reviews. My personal favorite line of this episode is when Claire's saying that, I can give you I can infect them with a virus that, because of the creature's super weak and immune system, it will kill them, but it doesn't have to be any stronger than the common cold. And Border's like, what about us? She's like, well, you'll get the sniffles. Like, I am prepared. Nice. I love that. And second favorite being the gag of like, if the power cell doesn't immediately pop out and mean you're doing something wrong. It's like, what? I love that line. Again, this is the kind of humor that I love in the Orville. This is what was really lacking in the previous episode, which that episode, again, there was a lot of heavy subject material, and I understand that it couldn't go that funny in a lot of situations, but this one, they managed to find the balance more, and this is what I was missing from last week's episode. So really, I don't really have any complaints about this episode, other than it seems like some characters, we're getting to that point where there's so many characters that some are getting kind of left by the wayside. Like that Charlie Burke was very central in the first episode. Here she's just kind of there, and she really doesn't play any part in this episode, which is kind of a shame. I'm hoping that we'll get more development of her later on. And also Gordon is kind of just kind of there. He's kind of there in the first episode. He's kind of there in this episode. I'm really hoping that they get to do more with him in episodes to come. But other than that, yeah, there really isn't much to complain about in this episode. I really, really enjoyed it. Some things that I noticed that you may have seen before. Again, I talked about the alien meets Borg simulation kind of thing. Also, when they're talking about there's this expanse that is full of demons, and it's dangerous to go in there. That just made me think of Star Trek Enterprise Season 3 with the Delphic Expanse, that kind of riff on that. But really, the main point of comparison to be made in this episode is Claire and Admiral Christie's relationship. Made me think a lot about Dr. Pulaski and Kyle Riker from Star Trek: The Next Generation Season 2, The Icarus Factor, where they reveal that they have history on that front. That sort of dynamic made me think of, seemed to be paralleled in this episode a lot. So, I mean, that was my main point of comparison, but I might have missed something. What did you think? of this episode of the Orville New Horizons. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about my analysis? Do you agree? Disagree? Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my reaction to next week's episode of the Orville New Horizons, as well as my next movie review, which will be for Jurassic World Dominion, which comes out this weekend. So be sure to look for that. And if you like this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.